Would you agree that network marketing is the most brilliant profession in the world? Would you? Let me hear that again. Is it the most brilliant? Yes. Say that with passion. It is. I was told, actually, I heard this just recently, I thought I'd share it with you, is that network marketing is actually capable of wiping out poverty and financial hardship in the whole world. So think about that. Think about that statement and think about how you could make that happen. You could be a small part of that. So now I'm really excited to talk about this guy that's coming up next. He's a gold associate with Max International, and he's been building locally and internationally. His loyalty and commitment, which I've seen with my own eyes, and I know you guys have too, is really something to acknowledge and to notice and to be duplicated in your own businesses. He is a retired pilot of 40 years. He was involved in search and rescue. He saw action in the Gulf War and was a VIP flying for the government. He joined Max from its inception, 8 years, spent 8 years part-time in Max while he was flying around the world doing his thing. And he will be speaking today on building your business with social media needs, a topic he's had great success with in his own business, his own organization. He's always willing to help and share others excel, and I've seen this firsthand, as many of you have. And there's one thing I want to share with you that I was truly shocked at, one thing you may not know about him. He had his own cooking show on a major network, and it was called Paul's Pantry. So he can cook too. What else can you do? He can do everything. So anyways, maybe we can talk him into making us a nice meal one day. I want to welcome Mr. Paul Tesseyman to the stage. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah, my name is Paul Tesseyman. I've been with Max, as I've just been told by Bernadette right from the beginning, and the cooking show was in a different life, and I can't even remember that life. But being a pilot for 40 plus years, started off with the commercial airline, found it boring. I got into the military, became a jet fighter pilot for a couple of years, search and rescue, heavy lift transport, flew around the world, was in the Gulf War. I was actually the first Hercules pilot and aircraft into Kuwait after Saddam was taken out, and we went through the fires, the oil fires. They're on fire, just crazy, just ridiculous. And that was another story too, another life. I did this business part-time for 8 years, and I got involved with Max. And I stayed in my comfort zone for over 20 months. I'm not kidding. I didn't want to do this. I stayed in my comfort zone. I didn't leave the gate pretty fast. And what kept me back was the fact that I didn't want to talk to people at all, none. And it was something I had to get over. I had a lot of adjustments to make, and I had to make those adjustments through my own mindset. And I am a gold associate, by the way. I am a gold associate, pin level, but in here and in here, I'm diamond. And what I do is diamond activity, but I'm wearing a gold pin. That's not going to last. But my point being is the comfort zone kept me back. And when I first started this, cold calling was very, very popular. You would get leads from a lead company. You would make cold calls every night, about 20 cold calls, 30 cold calls. You would get hang-ups. In fact, what I had is I had about 10 to 20 associates on the call, on mute. They could listen to me doing the cold calls live, and I became a master at this. And by the way, you can't do that anymore. You can't put people on the call when you're doing it, so I had to stop. But I did that for about 1.5 years, nearly 2 years. And the hang-ups, some of the swearing, some of the obstacles, the challenges that I had to make sure that I corrected and looked after. But it was a very good learning experience for people who were looking at cold calling. And I did that for a while. The other thing that kept me going is the fact that social media made its presence, and I was also in my comfort level for 5 years. I didn't do social media. I had a fear of doing something like that. I don't know why. False evidence appearing real, right? And I'm into it now. I've been doing it for the last 2.5 years, and I wish I had got started 10 years ago. Oh my God. Fear, it can kill you. It can kill you. Amazing. The reality check is there's only basically 2 ways of prospecting. Number 1, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, eyeball-to-eyeball, right? That's probably the best one. The second one is social media. And this is mostly fear zone stuff because you're talking to strangers. But you can do social media any time of the day or the night, and I'll get into that in a few seconds. Social media leads. My purpose. Now, I'm going to say right now that I am not a social media guru at all, okay? I'm a social media lead guru, which means that I know how to handle the leads once I get them. But there's people in this room that know much, much more about social media than I do. So I'm not trying to say that I know a lot about social media, but certainly the leads. And what I do, I think you can probably learn something from this, and you may want to try it yourself. My purpose is to connect with as many prospects as possible in the shortest period of time, activate the filters, which is basically qualifying my prospects, and convert the ones remaining to associates. This is my purpose, period. And actually, I didn't even think about this purpose until I was told I was doing this presentation. So you start thinking about it. And if you're going to learn something, and you're going to teach it, you have to go back and figure out why you're doing this. It's like flying. You've got to be a master at flying if you're going to teach it. And it's important that you realize what the purpose is. So I'm going to demonstrate this because we always talk about prospecting. And prospecting is a critical part of getting leads, right? We always talk about it. But prospecting started out in the 1850s, and it was gold mining, panning, right? That's how people prospect. And when I talk to people about prospecting, they don't get it. You've got to prospect a lot, spend a lot of time, a lot of energy getting the people you need into your business. So the demonstration, because this might click, right? So here's the pan. And what I do is I move it back and forth. And all the gravel, all the sand, all the dirt falls through the holes in the filter. And these are the people you don't want, right? Hundreds and thousands of people that you don't want. Right here. This is prospecting. Prospectors stayed prospecting from not sunrise to sunset. Some of them went through the night, 7 days a week, 2 to 3 to 5 years of prospecting. Some got rich, some didn't get rich. But what you're left with after your prospect are the gold nuggets. Okay? This is what you want. You want the gold nuggets, the diamond crystals. But you have to go through a lot of people to get it. And it takes time. So when you're prospecting, deal with it. Honestly. Deal with the fact you're going to get a lot of no's. Deal with the fact you're going to get a lot of people you don't want in your system. And this is what I'm going to talk about. So that's a demonstration of prospecting. Whoa. So you've got a funnel. You've got a screen. But the funnel is this. You've got people in the pipeline. Okay, there was 6 or 7 people at the top, the ones that are waving like this. That is your pipeline. If you've got a lot of people in the pipeline, that means you can screen the ones that you don't want out. If you don't have a lot of people in the pipeline, you're really hungry for people, and you're going to take anybody, right? Anybody. It doesn't matter. But if you've got a lot of people in the pipeline, you've got time, you've got the energy, and you've got the resources to screen people out. So this is what's happening. So out of all the people that are in the pipeline going through the funnel, you've got the screens, only 2 people made it in this case. That's prospecting. And below those 2 people, there's a posturepedic mattress because you've got to look after your people. You've got to be gentle. You've got to be gentle with your prospects. You've got to be gentle with the associates you have in your company. You've got to look after them. You've got to respect them. So that little posturepedic mattress costs a bit of money, but you know what? It's going to make their life a bit more comfortable, right? And that's what it's all about. My main activity for social media leads is obviously prospecting. I have the luxury of putting in screens. I have the luxury of weeding people out because I've got a lot of people in the platform. I got a lot of people in the funnel and also in the pipeline. How I do this is multifaceted. First of all, I listen to what they say. I listen to what they say because their language is important. Their language is very important. I also watch what they do as I'm prospecting them. And I didn't realize they did this. I didn't realize it. When I thought about doing this presentation, I said, well, what do? I'm actually putting these filters in and these screens in subconsciously. And that's what I was doing. I wasn't making a conscious effort to do this. It just happened to be that way. So I thought this would be a good thing to train on. So watch what they do, how they do it, and when they do it. If people are going to delay in getting back to me with information I've asked for, they're on my watch list, my bad watch list. My yellow flag is up, right? My screens, filters, in this case, and you can change whatever screens and filters you want. Mine is PAIR, just because it happens to be that way. First one, potential. When I'm doing this, I'm saying, hey, does this person have potential? Is he a visionary? Is she a visionary? An influencer? I can tell by talking to them, by getting the information from them, by texting them, but on the calls. Possessing a consumer mindset. A lot of people have a consumer mindset, and they will not get out of that. So potential. The other one is attitude. What kind of attitude do they have? They're negative in what they say. What's in it for me? They use the word try. Is interested. They're interested in doing this, but they're not committed or not wanting to really get involved with this. They're not hungry for this. It's just, well, I'll try it, see what happens. And the reaction time. The reaction time getting back is slow. But you know what? When they say they try, that really puts my yellow flag up because, I'm a pilot. So if I was the pilot in your commercial airline and I was going to fly from Toronto to Vancouver, and I came in the back and said, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, Paul Tesseyman. I'm up front, they see me. I said, I am going to try and get you to Vancouver. I've done it before. I'm going to try and do it again. So I want you to sit back. I'll do what I can, but just relax. Have a glass of wine, have a bottle of wine, but just relax. And I hope to see you on the ground. You wouldn't be too happy. But if I said, hey, this is your captain speaking, Paul Tesseyman. I am going to get you to Vancouver at 8:30 p.m. local time. We're going to be flying at 35,000 feet. The turbulence is nil. The weather is great. I'm going to be on the ground a little bit before you. I've got a dinner date at 8:30. I'll see you on the ground. Have a great evening, okay? Boom. You feel a lot better. So the trying doesn't cut it. If you're going to try something, forget it. Don't even join. Investing is the last one. Are they going to invest in the business? Are they going to invest in themselves? How many people here have had the opportunity to get the word, say, oh, well, would you buy the product for me? Get me started, because I'm really, really interested in this, and I want, just give me some help. No. And that not just comes from Canada, it comes from other areas of the world, too. They want you to buy the product. And they have no time. Listen, I flew around the world for 8 years doing this business, part-time, and I built a business. And guess what? If you say you don't have time, I've got no time for that at all. But so these are the 4 screens that I put in there. And as long as these people go through the pipeline and into the filters, I've got the asset of actually screening and weeding out people. So let's take a look. Stages to build on. Well, the first one is you've got to create curiosity. Now, I'm talking LinkedIn and I'm talking Facebook. There are other mediums in social media. Whatever one you're on is fine. But I'm talking LinkedIn, I'm talking Facebook. Create curiosity through a dynamic profile statement, because to get leads, people are going to look at your profile. And it's got to be dynamic. It's got to be the hook. It's got to be the salt. Right? They say, wow, I've got to get involved with this. I've got to take a look at this a bit more. Maybe I should check it out. So make sure your profile is very, very dynamic and interesting, because that's going to get you the leads you want. So if you're not getting leads on LinkedIn, if you're not getting the leads from Facebook, your lifestyle posts, your photos, your health posts and photos, without mentioning the company. In fact, yesterday morning with Sasha, she said, have a business profile on Facebook. Don't put this stuff on your personal page. Have a business page. It was amazing. For the amount of money we spent and the 3 hours of training yesterday, it was amazing. So getting a business profile on Facebook is definitely a reality. So make sure you have a dynamic Facebook page. Make sure you have a dynamic profile. Capitalize on the connection, because what's going to happen here, people who are interested are going to connect with you. They're going to connect. And by inviting you. And they're going to connect with you and get asked to be invited. And they're going to ask for more information. This is what you want. You want people to connect with you. I get 15 to 20 hits probably in 2 days. That's not bad. So I have a whole bunch. I leave it for about 3 or 4 days, and I've got 80 people waiting for me to connect with. 80 people. Oh my God. That's amazing. Communicate. Send a brief introductory message. This is communication. A message about what you are doing and detailing what you're into. That's what you're doing with your introductory message. This is a message that you repeat. And by the way, communication is important. And we're talking about on LinkedIn now or on Facebook. Yesterday with Sasha, she said, you know what? There are 3 tiers to content tiers. Content tiers. And in the content tiers, you educate people, you inspire people, and you communicate. And that's 85% of the tiers. The other 15% goes for sales and presentations. So 85% is educating and inspiration and, of course, communication. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. So what you do is you include statements such as do part-time while you've still got your full-time job, changing people's lives and their health and lifestyles. You know people with health and financial issues. Of course you do. The benefits, trips that are promoted by Max, and you go on their dime. And if you don't go on their dime, you still go on some trips because you can pay for it by the money you're making in Max. The income, improved health. That's the worst case scenario. If you don't do the business, you get improved health. Improved health is the most important aspect of life. You got to have health, else nothing else matters. So the worst case scenario by being on auto-ship is improved health. Are you kidding me? Really. Now you have the ability to get residual income while you're sleeping. I can tell you right now, everyone, in Canada, you will not get rich having a job. Just over broke. You're not going to get rich. We are taxed to the hilt. And you're not going to get, you're living from paycheck to paycheck, and maybe not even then. You will not make money in Canada and get rich unless you had a residual income opportunity where you're making money at nighttime when you're sleeping. And the same for other countries around the world. And that's why it's so prevalent in other countries. That's why it's taking off like a rocket ship. Gear it from their perspective, right? Because that brief introductory message, guess what? I say, hey, John, I understand you're working as an engineer in Toronto or in Lagos or in Accra. I understand you work a lot of hours, you're full-time, and you've got another part-time job, and you've got other things going on. What if I introduced you to yada, 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 right? Where you could work part-time in a residual income opportunity while you keep your full-time job. And the people start to think about this because you're adding value and you're putting them in the driver's seat. And that's what you want to do, put them in the driver's seat. Finally, in the last line of the introductory message, we're still on LinkedIn. We're still on LinkedIn. Don't worry about going anywhere else right now. I state, if interested in more information, please send me your email, phone number, or WhatsApp number, and I will send you some information. Out of 20 people I do, I get about 10, sometimes even more than 50% back in replies. Out of those replies that I get back, half are no's, or yeah, that's great stuff, and they don't want to do anything else. But I get half of those, or 40%, are yeses. Send me some information. That's a good ratio. LinkedIn is amazing because it's very professional. When you go on Facebook, you're not getting professional. You're getting a lot of other stuff, which is okay. Facebook is still good. But I find LinkedIn exceptionally good. Now that you've received the information that you've asked for, like a WhatsApp number or an email or what have you, you can now send the first invite to them. First invite. Now, the first invite, we know what that is, I think, right? The 2 videos, the product video, the opportunity video, the benefits, the diseases, the testimonies. That's the first invite. Boom. We do that in North America. Same invite in a different format, different videos, are done in other countries, in Africa, in the Philippines. Same invite. It's congruent around the world. Everything is the same. This is what's so cool about this. The only two things that change are the currency and the culture. That's it. So it's pretty interesting. So you call them back within 24 hours. So when I send this information, this invite, I'm saying, hey, John, great talking with you on LinkedIn, great talking with you on Facebook, what have you. The information that I promised to send you is below. Boom. And I send the information. And at the end, I say, hey, I'll call you back as agreed in 24 hours at 8 o'clock your time tomorrow night. Wonderful. Make sure you do it. Make sure you do it. You want to build trust, right? This is a way of building trust. Make sure you call them back. And that's the then you do the follow-up. That's basically the follow-up. So on the follow-up, I'm going to go through this quickly because there's only a few questions, but I'm sure we all know this already. Question, did you get a chance to view the information I sent you, right? If the answer is no, don't get upset. Just say, hey, when do you think you'll do it? And you ask them again and delay it by 24 hours. If the answer is yes, the next question is, what did you like best? Did you like the product for better health? Did you like the opportunity for better wealth and finance? Or did you like both? That's the question you're asking. The third question you ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no interest, 10 being I'm ready to get started, where are you at this time? Where would you rate yourself? And any answer is correct. It can be 1 to 10. It doesn't matter. And if it's not 10, you say, hey, what do you need to get to number 10? What do you need to get to 10? And they'll tell you. Now, the next question is not on here because I want you to visualize the question. I want it to be ingrained in your head. And that question is, are you ready to get started? I had a real hard time asking that question. Oh my God, I got asked, are you ready to get started? But you know what? If you ask that question, you'll get the truth. And if you get a no, that's great. I want the no's here, all the no's, so I can get those 3 or 4 golden nuggets as quickly as I can. The sooner they say no, the better. Points to remember. Okay, first one, prioritize this the night before. Plan your day the night before to do social media. It's like going to the gym. If you want to get in shape and tone up, if you want to get muscle, if you want to get rid of some fat, you've got to go to the gym. If you don't prioritize this, something is going to come up that you can't go. Like, my goodness, my cat's giving birth to kittens. I'm not going. I think the cat will give birth to kittens even if you're not there, right? I mean, that's what happens. You need more no's, guy. You need a lot of more no's. You really do. Once you receive their email or WhatsApp number, send the first invite, call within 24 hours, and put them through the filters. And I did these filters, like I said, subconsciously. Follow up and steer them to the registration phase. And this is where the work begins. Registration phase. So now we've got all their information for registration, right? Depending on where you're getting it from. Canada, United States, North America, from Africa, from the Philippines, depending on where you are. And believe me, guys and girls, don't be bound by country lines. We've got 19 countries we're in. Get people in other countries. I've got people in Nigeria who are building in Canada and United States. Oh my goodness. And they said, I can do that? I said, oh yeah. This is not just in Nigeria, it's not just in Ghana, it's not just in Canada, it's in the countries that we're in. Build in those countries. Get out of your boundaries. Buying product, the work begins. Okay, so when a person buys product, say you inspire them to get the premier pack or the professional pack. Now they've got a whole bunch of product. You have a responsibility to help them get rid of that product. By having in-homes, by helping them do third-party calls with you, or whatever the case may be. But you have a responsibility. They spend $1,000 US, they spend 399,000 Naira. You have to help them do this, right? That builds trust, it builds relationships, and they become friends with you. You just don't let them hang there. Make sense? Relationship building, creating trust. Getting started right. You've got to make sure that what you do, you duplicate with your team, getting started right. Trainings, the third-party edification, the coaching conversation. Oh my goodness, all of this stuff. The NAO. You know, most people in Maths can't even spell NAO. You know that? New associate orientation. If you don't do the new associate orientation, you're not necessarily going to get the success you want. If you guys haven't read the NAO, how do you expect to do this? Being a pilot, Before I fly any jet fighter aircraft or search and rescue aircraft or Hercules aircraft, which has thousands of computers on it, I've got to read the AOI. The AOI is Aircraft Operating Instructions. The aircraft operating instructions tells me what time I rotate, how much, what speed I need for putting down maximum flap, what my maximum altitude is, what my maximum airspeed is, when I can put my gear down, what my landing speeds are based on my headwinds, yada, yada, yada. Oh my goodness, if I didn't read the AOI and pass the exam, which required 90%, I'd be dead by now. Okay? All that takes is one extra takeoff without the landing. That's all it takes. I'll spoil my coffee break. No, you've got to read the NAO. If you don't read the NAO, you haven't even started. All right? Duplication, duplication, duplication. You know, this company we have a significant business. Significant business in this company. We've got business with a purpose. This company is worth your time, it's worth your effort, and it's worth your sacrifice. But you've got to do it with passion, not try. You've got to be committed. Empower your health, empower your potential, empower your life. I am Max. We are Max. Thank you so much.